very common problem and very easy to implement if you know the algorithm. The problem goes something like this. How do you find the greatest common divisor of two numbers? So before I go into implementation, it would be nice to know one mathematical formula. This formula or this algorithm was already solved by somebody by the name Euclidean algorithm. Euclidean, that was the name of person. So what he says is, if you take any two numbers, let's say for our clarity, we take 44 and 16 as two numbers. So what is the greatest common divisor of these two numbers? What he says is, take the largest number, subtract it by the smaller number, and you see what difference do you get. So what is the difference in this case? I believe which is 28. Okay, is 28 greater than 16, the last number? Yes. So you take the greater number again, subtract it. What do you get? You get 12. Is 12 greater than 16? No. So you take 16 as your greater number and then you subtract it by 12. What do you get? You get 4. So is 4 greater than the last number 12? No. So you take 12 in this case, the greater number, subtract it by 4, you get 8. That would be the number. So is 8 greater than 4? So yes, 8 becomes greater. 8 subtracted by 14 and you get 4 as your answer. So now you have two numbers that are similar. 4 subtracted by 4 equal to 0. So at this point you can say that 4 is the greatest common divisor of 44 and 16. So this is an algorithm that we have to implement. So how do we implement this? So it's very easy check. So you have to check if number 1 is greater than number 2. If yes, then you subtract number 1 with number 2. If you come across here, if your number 1 if your number 1 is less than number 2, you take the number 2 and subtract it by number 1. So you keep going until you have two similar numbers that match each other. If they are, then that is your greatest common divisor. So let's go ahead and implement a recursive algorithm in this case. So let us see how we implement this algorithm using our Java program. So if I have two numbers, so as I said, if my first number, in our case let's the first number be m, if it is less than n, so what do I have to do? I have to subtract n minus m, right? And then I will pass my m and then I will call this same method using recursion. I will just return this and it will keep doing this in the recursive call. Otherwise, the other case is what? If my n is if my m is greater than n, so in that case, so I have to subtract m minus n. That's my first call, and then I have to pass the other number and I will call the same method with these two parameters, and then I will return them, right? So if it goes through this recursive loop, at some point you will have m and n both as equal, as we saw in an example. So if it goes either, so if this 44 is greater than 16, it will actually subtract 44 by 16. At some point, if you see here, if 12 is greater than 4, subtract here 8. 8 is greater than 4, it will subtract 4. So it will keep doing this until it comes to a point where you will have m and n both as equal. It will become 4. So when m equal to n, then just return either m or n. That will be your greatest common divisor. So for you to implement this algorithm, just go through 2 numbers and understand the Euclidean algorithm that was written. It's already been solved by a great mathematician. All you have to do is take 2 numbers, check which one is greater. If it is greater, subtract it. Keep subtracting. See, in this case, when you subtracted, you got 12. But in our case, 12 is actually less than 16, right? So what happens is my 16 becomes the first number and 12 becomes the second number. So in this case, I subtracted 12 and 4, so it becomes 8. So this is the way that you can easily implement your greatest common divisor problem. So using the recursion. So the complexity of this is log n, and you can actually implement it very easily. Just 2 numbers. Just go ahead and try it. If you have any comments on this program, please write a comment, and if you have liked this video, please press a like button. If you have still not subscribed to my video, I would please appreciate if you can subscribe to my video. Let's go ahead and run this program just for the sake. Okay, so you have the greatest common divisor of these 2 elements as 4. Let's try 2 other numbers. Let's try 10. So that's how you implement your greatest common divisor problem using recursion. And if you have any comments, any questions, please go ahead and do it. And until then, next time I will come up with new videos. Talk to you soon, and have a nice day. Bye.